It's that time of year again, where DM Rage posts our opinions on all of the melodic metal albums released this year, so you can TLDR, in this case TLDW it. I'm actually really excited because 2021 actually had so many good releases. I'm going to be going over 39 albums this year, which is huge. And not only that, but I'm super excited for 2022 because we'll have Blind Guardian, we'll have Sabaton, we'll have fucking Fellowship and Planeswalker. So super excited. 2022 is going to be great. 2021 was awesome. So let's just jump into it. And again, like last year, I'm going to be doing an Elite Four again because I'm obsessed with Pokemon, and let's just use that as our big highlights for the year. FNMR's A Dream of Wilderness, melodic French death metal. Now, I was actually expecting this to be an amazing. I was expecting my mind to be blown by this release, but instead I only got a very good album, which is okay. Honestly, I think I put it too high. My expectations were too high that it just, because it didn't meet them, I was a little underwhelmed, but it's still amazing. Antigone is amazing. I mean, the singles were so well picked. Pantaray, Antigone, and Loredo de Medusa are all very good, and of course, Roots and Leaves. Oh my god, that's one of the stars of the album. So you have 4 incredible bangers, and everything in between that is generally good to very good. Unfortunately, nothing like gripped me like Precopton or The Sovereign, so it didn't quite meet that level, but it's definitely one of the best melodic death metal releases this year, and you should check it out. Beast in Black's Dark Connection. I wanted more from them. Honestly, it felt like they took the first 2 albums, just recycled it, and especially, I don't know, I just wanted more from it. The first half of the album's pretty good. I really like Blade Runner and Belladonna. It stays pretty good, but by the end, I'm like, I just didn't want to keep listening. So it's still a decent release. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be listening to this outside of those 2 songs, so I'm probably just going to be listening to Berserker more. I mean, Blind and Frozen is fucking good. So, sorry, Yanis Papadopoulos. Maybe better next time. I'm still going to love it if I see you live. Blazon Stone's Damnation. So I'm a little bit behind where I haven't listened to this band ever, so I decided, you know what, this year, give them a shot, see what they're all about. I know Rolf and Running Wild. Now we've got Blazon Stone, we've got Pirates, Yar! Actually, this is incredible. I was super surprised. I hadn't heard too many people talk about it, so I was thinking this is going to be awful, but really, this is one of my favorite releases this year. My favorite song off of this is Black Sails on the Horizon, but like Endless Fires of Hate, Raiders of Jolly Red. Really, the whole album's worth a listen. There's no point where I'm like, skip this. I really like so many songs on it, and it's one of those where after I was done listening to it, I'm like, let's listen to it again. And honestly, I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves, so it's like my background music for that too. So really check this out. I know a lot of people might be turned off by some of this, but really, it's good. It's fast, and it's fast and powerful, which is something I really needed from like power metal this year, because we have a lot of too much mid-tempo kind of bullshit that we've been getting, which I don't necessarily hate, but come on, some variety is great. And you're gonna get it in Damnation. Australian symphonic metal CARMERI releasing album Advene as their debut. Have you ever thought, man, I miss Con-era Camelot? Say no more, fam. You have it here. This is the straight, sad Camelot worship as you could possibly get. Morning Star is one of my favorite tracks. It just sticks in my ear. The singer's really fucking good too. I'm really impressed. And as long as you like that, you know, Vasilis Georgiou, Khan, and some of those like Camelot Tommy sounds, this is amazing. To Lead the Blind is fucking awesome too. Halo and Eternity, I mean, just listen to the album if you're really into that symphonic metal stuff. I'm very impressed with this debut. I'm hoping, they've actually been really slow to release this, so I'm not really expecting their pace to pick up much, but they actually have some pretty good high quality music videos too. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check them out. They're very talented. Dialith Atrophy, this is an EP, not an album. And you can tell because as soon as it was over, I'm like, oh no, listen to it again. It's very good. I love Ignite the Sky. Sweet as Wine's pretty good too, and Undertow, Undertow, and it really, the whole thing, just keep listening to it. Undertow and Ignite the Sky are fantastic. It's wonderful symphonic metal, especially if you love female vocalists, which I do. And I feel like it was underrated. I hardly see anyone talk about it, so give it a shot, and it's not very long, so even if you don't like it, you didn't even spend that much time doing it. Edu Falashi, I hope I said it right, Veracruz. Here's our first Elite Four pick. Holy shit! Remember this? I wasn't even expecting this. People are like, hey, Veracruz is pretty good. I'm like, what the fuck is Veracruz? I've never heard of them. Like, no, Veracruz is the album. It's Edu Flashy. I'm like, oh yeah, he's still doing shit. Did he blow out his voice in like that Temple of Shadows like live concert thing like a few years ago, and yeah, he took some time off, made this, and it was so worth it. I love, first off, everything about this album just really grabs me. I love Crosses. Mirror of Delusion is one of the best songs released this year in power metal. It brings kind of that old school power metal that I've been like looking for. It's got speed, it's got power, it's got these wonderful harmonies. I just love it. The Ancestry, you know, Sea of Uncertainties, there's a couple of ballads in this, and they're actually good. Oh my god, just the whole album just is something I direly needed, and it's one of the best releases this year. It really holds up with re-listens to, because I had a lot of new albums since then, and when I came back, I'm like, oh shit, this again! And I was just so enthused, and I spammed it again. This is absolutely wonderful. Always, please, everyone who's interested in power metal, give this a listen. Eons and Thrones, Into the Arcane, and back-to-back, another Elite Four pick. What's that? So yeah, no kidding. This, I'd heard their singles, and I was like really into like Stormblast, but I wasn't actually expecting the album to be completely as amazing as it was. Twisted Red Doorframe really sticks out to me because I love symphonic metal, and this is kind of like a symphonic power, mostly power, and honestly, Freelancer, it's so I'm just gonna go down every track. Sozos shows off so much in Veins of Gold, and it shows exactly how he won the role. The new leading role is singer of Gloryhammer. This album showcases just how good he is. This album has a nice variety. The songs don't sound like so similar. You've got like almost like a dad rock and King of Kings. You've got standard aggressive Stormblast. You have Veins of Gold, which has the standard power metal epic, and then you've got Twisted Red Doorframe. It's more of a symphonic metal. It's like they're like, we're gonna hit all these genres and we're gonna do it well. So between Fernando, Jeff, and Randall writing it, it's just such a well-written album. Like, everyone, please listen to this. It's just amazing. Ephemerals Between Glimpses of Hope. Wow. So this is one of the best melodic metal releases this year. Servant is, well, first off, Grand Creation. If you're gonna like check it out, they kicked the album off with Grand Creation. Servant's, honestly, this is another one where I just love it, but Grand Creation is one I constantly re-listen to. I put that on repeat so many times. That and Servant are the two that I most listen to. So if you want to say like, am I going to like this? Listen to those two tracks. But this definitely is, took me by surprise. It was recommended to me in the Power Metal Discord. I'll include a link in the description if you guys want to talk about it. We have a wonderful community there. And I know this isn't power metal, but is suggested to me, and I'm so happy that I'm able to get some of these random albums that I would never have found out otherwise. So Ephemeral, keep kicking ass. This is a very good release. EPICA's Omega. It feels like 50 years ago that this was released. Like, holy shit, like, I swear, being in lockdown has made me crazy, but I really love this album. Best of Time, obviously amazing. I already knew I loved this song when they released the single. And of course, we got like Skeleton Key and Seal of Song. It's a very good symphonic metal release. Although the fact that, you know, Quantum Enigma, they really haven't hit that bar for me again. But that's okay. This is just a very good symphonic metal release. It's not going to be my top 4 for the year. Where Quantum Enigma is definitely one of the best symphonic metal albums I've ever listened to. So, but still check this out. Oh, and they added more parts of their Kingdom of Heaven series, which is also very good. Keep up. Also, Simone, you're amazing. So, Eternity's End. I'm not actually a big fan of Yuri Samson, but here we go. So we have Embers of War. That's such a power metal release. And again, Aggression. You'll see that over this year, I'm actually more drawn to the more aggressive releases now because I got a little bit sick of that arena metal, like mid-tempo shit. So we have aggression, we have riffs, we have speed, and we've got that high-powered vocals again. So, of course, Dreadnought's fantastic. Bane of the Black Sword, I like both of those. Arcturus Prime is also very good. So if you want to check those out, those were listed out. I'm not sure this album is one that I'm going to repeat. I'm probably just going to listen to my favorite tracks on it and just kind of skip the rest of it. But it was still an album that was enjoyable to listen to for the several times. I gave it re-listens, so I think that's going to put it ahead of the other albums released this year. So it's still very enjoyable, and plus it gives you that kind of classic vibe. Galactic Kraken. If anyone's familiar with Jonathan Young, his release Starship Velociraptor. I know it's got such a weird name, Galactic Kraken, Starship Velociraptor, but I think anyone who's listened to Power Metal's already heard cheesy enough song stuff. That's a really good album. I almost want to put it in my Elite Four, almost, not quite, but it's strangely new. It's not that powery, but yeah, it's there's something fresh about it. It's very synthy. I really like Jetpack Race. Man the Cannon's very Sabaton-y, and of course, you know, Storm the Castle, which I'm a huge fan of. Also, I mean, there's so I just listened to the whole album so many times. And I was like playing video games. I kept it on in the background. And I'm like, man, I just keep getting into this. Then I just added it to my commute. I'm like, man, everything about this just really got me. And I ended up listening to it for so many hours. Like literally, I'm pretty sure my playtime on this is beyond 24 hours. So what I'm going to say is listen to it. Jonathan Young's incredibly talented, and he's constantly releasing more videos. And he does a lot of like Sabaton, Blind Guardian, and other covers. So you should check out his YouTube channel if you like his voice. So, Union Gives Strength by Galnerius, Japanese power metal. It's a good release, but by Galnerius standards, it's a little bit of a disappointment, although they just constantly release stuff. I think Sue just spends the whole time spamming songs out, and some of them are good. Whatever It Takes and See the Light of Freedom really got me. Howling Darkness, I mean, it's a good, if you like Galnerius, you'll enjoy the tracks. It's a very solid release. I really wish I could give some more of those, like, some of the other stuff that he's done. I mean, I want another Brutal Spiral of Emotions, or Destiny, or Angel of Salvation. You know, any of those, bring back, or anything on Vitelgius, and the whole thing's amazing. But, so it was a little bit of a letdown, but on the scheme of things, it was actually still a good album. So I did enjoy it, listened to it several times, but I don't actually revisit it that often. If I want Galnerius, I'll usually listen to one of the older albums instead. Ghosts of Atlantis. So, this is a really good, again, this came out of nowhere, I'd never heard of him. Then someone's like, hey, you should listen to it, and I'm glad I did. 3624, weird album name, is definitely one of my favorite melodic death metal releases this year. Gardens of Athena is pretty good, and, you know, so is False Prophet. What really stuck out for me is The Third Pillar. The Third Pillar is just, this is another song I constantly revisit. I know I'm more of a song listener than an album listener. So if you're a song listener, listen to The Third Pillar. It's fucking amazing. I don't actually revisit this whole album in its entirety, but I will revisit songs, and I do revisit the Third Pillar. I'm pretty sure I've got over 10 hours of listening to it. 10 hours of listening to one song. I love it. I'm obsessed. I want more of that kind of stuff, and I've listened to the album several times. I highly recommend it, especially if you're into it. And they have some of those sounds that sounded almost like EPICA, if like EPICA had a guy singer instead. So that's up your alley. Check it out. When I recorded the video, I forgot to talk about Helloween. I don't know how I missed it, so we're just gonna do this without video. So when Helloween came out, I actually listened to it a bunch, and I was pretty enthused about it, but I quickly, over time, kind of lost interest. I'm not saying that it's bad, but like, it still has some great stuff. I like Out for the Glory and Fear of the Fallen's really good. Best Time and Mass Pollution really grabbed my attention, and then kind of just got a little blah, but I really liked Robot King, Cyanide, and Skyfall, though, so overall, it's a good album. I think it's got a lot of merit, and it's enjoyable, but for some reason, I think over time, it's going to be one of those albums that I phase out and go like, oh yeah, I like that, and I might revisit it sometimes. So I wanted a little bit more from Helloween, but I think they're making a bit of a return to form here. Iotan, Access All Worlds, more Melodeath, because that's what I'm listening to this year, I guess. So someone's like, hey, have you listened to this? I'm like, not really. It's like, it's got Baron Earth's singing. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out, because I love Baron Earth's vocalist. His cleans and his harshes are both very good. So, The Voyage of Gargany, Lyman's Golden Pits, and the Tower of Cosmic Night. I mean, honestly, these are weird song names, which are not even weird. You're going to get some weird-ass shit later with Wizard Throne. It's really good. There are some downs on this album that I'm not into, but the thing is, those songs that I like some of the songs that are really good. Access All World is like over 10 minutes long, and it's a good song too, which I didn't even mention in the first three. So just really, when it comes down to it, this is one of those incredibly strong releases. I do album listen this more often than not. If I do just listen to one track, it'll be The Voyage of Gargany 1, which is a fantastic song. And honestly, this one is the one I hardly ever gets brought back up again, and I really hope more people give this a shot. It's a fantastic release, and you should check it out. I hope I said the names right, but I probably butchered them all. Heavy Metal Gods, Iron Maiden, Senjutsu. Well, what can I say about Senjutsu? I actually was super disappointed, but honestly, towards the end, I know they hammered out with like, we're gonna have 3 songs at the end over 10 minutes, and I thought that was probably a bad idea, but in the end, like, the Parchment and Hell on Earth got my attention more than some of the rest of it. Stratego I just was not into, and Writing on the Wall is so boring. But I mean, I guess I also like Death of the Celts. I just don't revisit this. I check out their old albums. I'm sorry, Iron Maiden, I am going to see you live, so that's going to be amazing. I love how they've got the Legacy of the Beast tour where like, we're going to give you music and none of it's from Senjutsu, and I'm like, thank you so much for that. Labyrinth, welcome to the Absurd Circus. I've already come to terms with I'm not going to get the Labyrinth I want ever again, so let's just give it a fresh new look, and I actually liked it. The Absurd Circus is actually, I love that song. It definitely has another more of that aggression that I was hoping from them, and we still have some good songs in Live Today, and Sleepwalker is the other one that stood out for me. I really want another like Return to Heaven Denied tier thing from them, but I know we're not going to get it. I've kind of come to terms with it, but this is still a good release, and it feels so long ago because it was released in the early part of this year, but I thought this one might hold up to be an Album of the Year contender, but this has been such a strong year that it ended up falling off. Oh well. Leprous' Aphelion almost made my top 4. Oh, it was so close. Honestly, over time, it hasn't held up as much as I want to. Running Low is amazing. I love Nighttime Disguise. We have Harshes from Einar Solberg. Einar Solberg, Daddy, I love him so much. Shadow Side, Castaway Angel. Okay, Castaway Angels is fucking amazing. I love it. I mean, this sounds so close to being Elite 4. If I did 5, I would have put this in 5th place. But oh my god, there's so much about this album that's just worth listening to. It's wonderful, but it still doesn't hold up to like the other releases that I like as much, like Melina and Pitfalls, which I both loved. And this one I only loved a lot instead of It's so good. Einar's voice, it's one of those things. Castaway Angels, Einar's voice on it when he goes into his falsetto is just, to die for. Einar, you should come. Oh, and he's coming to the USA! He's touring with the Ocean. So I'm like super enthused about that, so I finally get to be, oh, fuck. I'm so excited. Anyway, listen to this. It's wonderful progressive rock. It's not really metal, but whatever, I'll still talk about it. Love Bites! I miss you, Miho! I know! Miho, she has left, and now what's... However, Glory Glory to the World, the EP is still very good. Obviously, the title track is fantastic. I love the video where they include the church that every power metal, Japanese power metal band has to record in that church. It's like a law, I guess. However, despite all that, No Time to Hesitate, I think, is the winner off of this EP. It's really good. Also, they released another song, Nameless Warrior, which isn't on this, but also very good. But No Time to Hesitate really sticks out. You should check it out if you want some like old school inspired, but kind of some J-pop influence. It's a strange mix, and they're actually heavier than like most of the guys you get from like Germany and Sweden. So they kick their asses. So you keep on kicking asses. I hope without Miho doesn't. I'm really worried that they're gonna like disband, but we can hope. We can hope, and hopefully Miho goes on to some cool project, and I'll totally be following it. Marius Danielson's Legend of Valley Doom Part 3. Okay, it didn't grab me as much. I'm gonna be honest, I listened to it and then a few times and then I'm like, I can't get it. None of it wasn't bad, it was okay. I never got a song that really like an earworm like Free as the Wind from one of his earlier releases, so it's still well put together, but I think I'm gonna have to pass on it, sorry. Northtail's Eternal Flame. I actually thought I might like this, but it didn't hold up to repeated listens for me. I did like The Land of Mystic Rites. It sounds a little bit like, old school Angra, so that was cool, and I really did like that. But the rest of the album, I was just so unenthused about revisiting it, so sorry Northtail. I thought your debut was pretty decent, but it's just kind of gone downhill, plus found out some stuff about Hudson that I've just, nope, I don't want to support him anymore, so bye. Ordinogan's Final Days, a bit of a letdown, honestly. After Gunman, I had my hopes high. I saw the album art and I'm like, hope the album's not that bad. It's not that bad, but it's, I don't know. I mean, I liked Hollow, Interstellar's good, and I really liked Heart of the Android. I mean, Heart of the Android really did get me, but Like, I don't know, in the Dawn of the AI just felt like I'd heard it before. It just gave me something new and more fresh. And Inferno and Let the Fire Rain was, I don't know, skippable, honestly. So I had high hopes, and I like some of the releases from it, and I hardly ever revisit it. So that's not a good start, I think. I mean, most of the time it's like, hey, I want to listen to Organ Gogan. I'd rather revisit like Gunman or Easton Hope instead of listening to this. So that's not a terribly good review, but some of the songs do stick out. So if you like Organ, still give it a listen, and some of the tracks may, you know, jump out to you. Phoenix Rising's Acta Est Fabule. I'm gonna butcher all these song names. I should just say the track number instead. So track number 2, the title track's fantastic. It stuck out to me. Track number 5, really, it's fun because it's new. It sounds totally different than all the other bands. You actually have this more South American style, and it's first off, the singer's clearly not one of those copy-paste European power metal dudes that you hear and go like, oh, that's a standard voice. He sounds completely distinct. They're obviously singing in a different language, which I don't mind any other language, because some people are like, I don't understand the lyrics. I usually don't care about the lyrics, so it's not a big deal for me. But this one, it was actually really fun to listen to. I think a lot of people don't give foreign language bands much of a shot. I guess CARMERI gets a bit of a, you know, they've got a lot of songs in Japanese, but they have a lot of songs in English, and sometimes they have 50-50 split. Anyway, but it's definitely worth a listen. Track 2, 3, and 5 I think stuck out the most for me, and oh yeah, 7. You can clearly hear there's some Angra influence, but they've taken it a different direction, and it's super enjoyable. POWERWOLF's Call of the Wild. Now, the album art may have an arm that's not anatomically correct. It's actually annoying how well done the art is, because it's clearly, this is a very talented artist, but that arm is just in the wrong spot, and it bothers me. If you like POWERWOLF, you'll probably like this. That's really all there is to say about it. They really didn't innovate. They're like, do you want more of the same? I liked Sacrament of Sin a lot, and I just got more of that instead. I kind of wanted them to build on that, and we just got a little bit more. Despite that, I really like some of the songs. Faster Than the Flame is really catchy, gets stuck in my head. I think that Blood for Blood really stuck out, and Beast of Gévaudan was great too. So it's good, but it's a step down from Sacrament of Sin. But if you just like, man, I love POWERWOLF style, it's more of that, and that's for sure. Oh yeah, Dancing with the Dead too. I mean, it's got good songs, but it doesn't hold up to some of the other stuff. So it's still worth a listen though. Especially, I mean, it's hard for me to give it that bad of a review when I'm actually really long Faster Than the Flame. So still check it out, especially if you like that arena stompy metal. So yay. Primitize Violence from the Skies. I did like it at first, and I found out through repeated listens it wasn't my thing. I do revisit The Stars Are My Guide a lot. I actually put it in my casual listening playlist, so that's good, but the rest of the album just, I don't know, I was kind of unenchanted with it. But it's okay if you just release one song I really like, I'll still give you a point for that, because that song's good, but the rest of the album just didn't hold up for me. Project Lone Wolf's Edge of Saturn. So obviously, you've got the previous guitarist from Judicator making her own shit, and it's fantastic. It's way more thrashy, so if you want some of that more bite tier metal and be more of that like old school thrash sound, instead of like progressing like a lot of power metal bands try to go for a more symphonic, they're like, no, let's go back. Then, boy, do I have a band for you. Edge of Saturn's title track obviously is very good, but another one that I really liked is Something More, which aptly describes it, because I just want, I want just so much more of that. And she's such a character, Alicia, amongst the metal scene. She's got very strong beliefs, and I love her. But the music's fantastic. It holds up, and it's the album. It's like suddenly over, like, oh fuck, that was fast. Now listen to it again. So it's definitely one of the ones I've revisited several times, and I'd highly recommend more people check them out, because it doesn't seem like they're really on too many people's radar. Ravenous. So, if you aren't aware, I am a fan. And here we have it. Another Elite Four, and this is my favorite power metal release of the year. Ravenous's Hubris is fucking amazing. I actually was kind of hyped for it. I backed the project thinking this is going to be pretty good. I set the bar too low. It's not pretty good. It is mind-blowing. It's so new, so fresh, and remember what I said, like, man, give me power, give me speed, give me aggression. Oh, they brought it. Carnage and Carthage kicks it off. That chorus is so unique with that, like, you just got a standard, it's just descending scale of, and I'm like, oh, but it's just so fun. You have this more rich baritone voice from Rav, who's so much better than the debut. In the debut, he was pretty good. In this, he's just kicking ass. I love the album. Astral Elixir kicks ass. And honestly, then you've got this trio of songs of Die 1000 Deaths, Bridge Burner, and The Elder Queen, which I'm like, I just constantly listen to those three so many times. I've listened to this album so much this year, and I keep listening to it. I revisit it all the time. And the thing is, there's not really much, like, that much like that's like worth skipping. Because you're like, oh, the worst track on this kicks like songs on other albums' asses. That's how high the bar is set. Beast and Foul is so great. You get finally another good long song. You actually have a good ballad with Matthias Vlad's return to, like, it's just a guest vocal spot. But oh my god, it was so nice to hear his voice again. I miss Falconer so much. But oh, what an amazing album. I'm so enthused over it. You really should check it out. And I know I basically mentioned almost the whole track list. I think I may have missed. I missed a couple songs there. Clearly, like, The Claw is the Law, because evidently you need a song about White Claw. Even that sounds good though. So check it out. Hubris is fantastic. I hope eventually I'll be able to get to see a show of theirs, but from Calgary, Canada, and they don't move very far, so maybe sometime I'll catch one in, like, Ontario. Rhapsody of Fire with Glory for Salvation. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't awful, but it's one of those problems ever since Luca Torelli's left the band. I just have been thoroughly unenthused with the songwriting, and the trend continues. I listened to it. I mean, it wasn't bad. There were some parts where I was like, that was cool. Teriel the Hawk actually it sounded fun, folksy little thing, which I was like, that's cute, and I liked it. And then you got the Abyss of Time, the Abyssing. Oh my god, it's so long. I tried to listen to it. Honestly, I was accidentally checking out trying to listen to this album. I'm like, oh man, if I can't even focus on your music and I'm focusing on other things, you probably have done something wrong. And it's not inherently bad. I think people who like the Eighth Mountain will probably like this, but I wasn't a huge fan of the Eighth Mountain. Just give me more shit from Luca, except for not the piano shit. So hopefully Luca Torelli releases more stuff, but I'm not really into this. Sorry, Staropoli. Secret Sphere's Lifeblood. Now, if you ever were like, you know what we haven't done songs about? We've done dragons, we've done wizards, So we've got a power metal band who's like, you know what they need? We need a song where we talk about dinosaurs' piss. Yeah, so they literally said, drinking dinosaurs' pee. Oh my god, I can't get over that. So, I mean, obviously those lyrics from The Lie We Love. Oh man, there's just something weird about it, but End of an Ego is good, and I did really love Lifeblood. It's that track's good. This is another album that didn't hold up to repeated listens. Also, it felt like it was 50 years ago, but again, it was just released in the early part of the year, so Lifeblood I could have used a little bit more of, I don't know, some of the rest of the songs didn't hold up as much to me, but it was still enjoyable, so it might jump out to one of you if you're into some, standard Italian power metal. Seven Spires, Gods of Debauchery, Album of the Year. Oh, in our final Elite Four spot. Oh, Gods of Debauchery. Oh dear, it's so good. The thing is, like, a lot of times they're like, oh, do you really like the melodic metal songs? I'm like, yes, I do like the more powery songs, but the Melodeath kicks ass on this album so much. The title track's fantastic. Cursed Muse. They're like, hey, do you want to get your ass kicked and start with harsh vocals from Adrian? Yes. We fucking got it for you. Do you want Roy Khan to return? Do you have Roy Khan? I love Roy Khan. I'm a huge fan. This God Is Dead is the best song released this year, and it's so amazing and wonderful. And it doesn't even feel like a long song. It goes through. I'm like, oh, it's already over. Let's listen to it again. It's already over. Listen to it again. I've listened to it so many times. I'm so glad we have more Roy Khan. In power metal, I know I really like Conception, and it's a little bit not what I want from him. Which, first off, I still love Conception, but I want more Roy Khan doing power metal, and now we have it. This God Is Dead's fantastic. And then you go right into Oceans of Time, and oh my god, I'm just gonna say the whole track list every time. It's a little long for some people who do album listening, but I listen to this album so much. It's just so good. Even like the tracks that I wasn't super enthused about at first, like Lightbringer, I thought was like, what the fuck is this? Except that pre-chorus is so fucking catchy. It's so... Anyway, Adrian, I mean, the whole band, it's nice to, first off, be able to hear the bass, thank you. There's some good, well-done orchestration of fantastic vocalists. It's everything you could ever want. You've got power metal, you've got, you know, symphonic, you've got death. It just kicks ass. It is by far the best album released this year. I know you're like, wait, but you gave Seven Spires album of the year last year. And this year, you know what? They deserve it. They're fucking fantastic. Their debut was pretty good, but they stepped it up and released 2 years back to back the best album of the year, and I love it. Sonic Haven's Vagabond. So this is another one of those albums where I did listen to it a lot. I actually really like this album. So Striking Back's good, Back to Mad was good, but what really got me is the title track, Vagabond, the title track. Oh my god. I love it. Kirby Langdon? I'm terrible with names. I'm so sorry if I ruin names, but fantastic. The title track, I'm obsessed with. I've listened to it like fucking 30,000 times. That's a lie. But I've listened to it enough. I love it. But even then, the rest of the album's good. I mean, give the whole thing a listen. I do really like Striking Back too. So I know I'm hyping up one song, but the whole album's fantastic. You got some nice, it's got a good balance between, you know, some pretty standard UPM, but also it's got some a little bit of speed, especially in like Vagabond. You got this high-pitched scream to end the song. That's just what I needed. Temperance's Diamati. Honestly, after, you know, their previous release, I was like, this might be okay. This album actually kicks ass. There's so much about it. I mean, when I first saw the name "You Only Live Once," I'm like, oh, they did that. But it's a really good song, and here we have finally some quality symphonic metal. So we've got that, then Litany of the Northern Lights, you have the title track, and honestly, they kick off the album with the first track so well. It's actually just a very good album. It's not very powery. It's pretty lower energy, but it's very good symphonic metal on the whole. This is almost poppy in areas. I know some people hate that word, but I highly, highly recommend it. You do, like, songs like the chorus of You Only Live Once is higher energy, so some people might like that if they're into more power metal and not more of this symphonic stuff, but trust me when I say this is definitely worth checking out. Temperance, you did a good job. Therian's Leviathan. It was a good album, and I did like Leviathan, but it didn't hold up to repeated listens as much as I wanted to. And, you know, the title track's good, but what really stood out is Tuonela, because they got Marco Hietala. Oh, which I love him singing songs, so you got him on the chorus. So they're like, hey, we're gonna add Marco to this chorus. That's an instant win, and I love that song. So you've got 2 tracks on it I really love, and maybe that's all I needed, because give me those 2 tracks over and over again, and I'll be good. And I've added both of those to my casual listening, so that's good. The rest of the album just didn't hold up as much. Out of nowhere for me, because I hadn't really heard of him before, Whitechapel's Kin. So Kin is actually really good. I Will Find You is pretty good, but then it goes into Lost Boy and A Blood-Soaked Symphony. Those 2 songs, holy shit. Oh, that is what I needed. It's, I don't know, proggy Melodeath. It's hard to describe it, proggy Melodeath. I think that's the best way to put it. But Lost Boy really has this, I'm like, it's weird to get this weird rhythm from it, and it feels aggressive the whole time, and intense. It has you like on the seat, like at the edge of your seat, going, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And then the videos are kind of fucking trippy too. But that Blood-Soaked Symphony are fantastic. Orphan's good, but oh yeah, and this is another one where I'd probably go through the whole album list. I'm not sure I would necessarily would put the whole album on that same level, but I do think if you're like, I'm not sure, proggy Melodeath sounds a bit much for me, check out Lost Boy and Blood-Soaked Symphony. If those don't grab you, don't listen to the whole thing. But I think more people need to be aware, but they are definitely gaining traction though. So Whitechapel, thank you for a new release. I actually just found it. I mean, it was released in September, but I just found about it like a few weeks ago, and I'm like, where have you been hiding this whole time? Wizard Throne's Hypercube Necro Dimensions. So, Chris Bowes is at it again with, of course, Vincent Jones from Etherealm, who I'm a huge fan of, and you've got like Michael Barber from Glory Hammer and then a couple other dudes. I really was super enthused about this album. It's probably one of my favorite like pure Melodeath releases. I know Seven Spires wasn't really pure Melodeath. They have a lot of Melodeath on it, but they didn't quite. I mean, they've got a lot of power and symphonic. It's kind of like a grab bag. This is a pure Melodeath release, and you can clearly hear the influence from like various sources. I know a lot of people are like hyped up like Balsagoth, and like it's Balsagoth in some areas, but they've got Balsagoth and some old school stuff, and clearly some, you know, Yari Menpa influence. But Frozen Winds is very Winter Sun sounding. Frozen Winds of Phyrexia is fantastic. I love it. I love this. The first, I know that people are like hyped up over the title track, but the Black Hole Quantum. Oh my God, these are the most ridiculous song names. Incantation of the Red Order is really good. The long track at the end is very clearly Chris Bowes wrote it like, you know how he writes those long songs in Glory Hammer, and it's got that same vibe but more kind of almost power Melodeath-y sounding. He's making a silly Pickle Rick joke in it. The whole album literally builds up to a Pickle Rick joke, which is totally on point with what Chris Bowes does, is just do a bunch of bullshit. But it's a really enjoyable release. I'm a huge fan. Jake, I'll see you performing live soon, so hopefully, I don't know, I'll probably mention it there. It's really good. If you like Melodeath, please check this out. And last, more Melodeath, because that's this year's all about. Zornheim with the Zornheim Sleep Experiment. Corpus Vile is what I first was introduced to, and holy shit, does it hold up. I love that song a lot. The album is definitely worth a listen. It's got a mix of, because they still have clean vocals, nice, and they do a good job at like mixing when to do one or the other, which is something I really like, especially over like Orbit Culture, where there's a lot of you know, harshes, and then they introduce some of the cleans at some time, and I really like it when they do that mix really well. So obviously Corpus Vile is really good. Keep the Devil Away and Slumber Comes in Time also definitely stand out, but this is definitely one of the, I mean, I'm basically hyping up all this Melodeath this year, because this 2021 is the year of Melodeath, where it just really, really grabbed me. So it's really good. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people should hear it. Some of the songs, the streams on Spotify are so low compared to some of the other Melodeath bands that I'm surprised the numbers are low. So clearly not too many people have heard of Zornheim, but more people should. It's an incredibly strong release. Not quite top 10 for the year for me overall, but definitely up there. So I've definitely listened more than these albums this year, but some of them I just didn't think are even worth commenting on, or like I listened to them and whatever, and some of them I just didn't give whole listens to. So, but I hope everyone liked this. If you want to bitch at me about some of my opinions, please do so. I like being bitched at. I like attention. So I'll be doing more stuff. I don't really know how to end this video, so thank you for watching, and like hit like or something. I think I'm supposed to say that too. So, all right, thank you. Bye. Listen to Ravenous.